Wang Lin unveils a terrifying handprint power that crushes an ancient devil, overturning a desperate battle and shocking everyone present. If you're interested in more content, I've shared additional audio stories on my website, link in the description below. The girl in pink turned deathly pale. Sweat beaded across her forehead, sliding down in cold streaks. Her body weakened rapidly as though drained from within. Fortunately, the damage from the memory search was not too severe. With some rest, she would recover. Wang Lin let out a slow breath. He had already obtained the answer he sought regarding the brilliant Void Saintess. Though the information was incomplete with his insight, he could already discern the hidden issues. After a moment of contemplation, his gaze swept across the palace. Soon he located the mechanism to activate it. Once this array is opened, the two of you may enter the 8th floor. From there you are on your own. With that, Wang Lin activated the transfer array. His figure vanished without a trace. Although he had not killed the beautiful middle-aged woman during the search of her memories, he had erased all traces of what she had seen about him. At the same time, he left behind restrictions within her mind. Should she attempt to trouble him again, he could collapse her mind with a single thought. The moment Wang Lin stepped into the 8th floor of the Celestial Emperor Cave, a deep rumble echoed from afar. Powerful fluctuations of origin energy surged through the air. The 8th floor was shrouded in absolute darkness. Black mist filled every corner, suppressing his divine sense so that it could not extend far. Yet the distant noise grew increasingly violent, and faintly he could hear furious roars. That voice seemed to belong to Ling Tianhou. Wang Lin's expression turned solemn. He listened for a long time, then began to retreat. But just as he moved, the black mist ahead churned violently. Ling Tianhou burst out. He was in a miserable state. His face was filled with terror. On his chest was a black handprint, one that had pierced through his robes and branded his flesh. As he fled, strands of black mist converged toward that mark. Behind him, a shadow gave chase through the mist. It had taken the form of a massive devil, condensing the surrounding darkness into its body. It pursued Ling Tianhou relentlessly, intent on devouring him. Fear surged within Ling Tianhou's eyes, yet he clenched his teeth and suddenly turned. Opening his mouth, he spat out origin energy. With a wave of his hand, he tore open a spatial rift. From within it, his red Qilin charged out, roaring as it lunged toward the devil. The Qilin's body was riddled with wounds. Blood poured from them endlessly. Ling Tianhou's eyes revealed deep pain, but now was not the time to hesitate. Blood sacrifice. He struck his forehead. The two remaining origin swords behind him shot forward, not toward the devil, but toward the Qilin. The Qilin let out a mournful cry, yet it did not resist. It allowed the swords to pierce its body. Blood erupted in torrents, instantly covering a 1,000-foot radius. Beast soul appear. As Ling Tianhou roared, the Qilin's body exploded. Blood rained down as its soul emerged from the shattered remains. The moment the soul appeared, it released a deafening roar. This sound could not be heard by the physical body, it resounded only within the origin soul. When it reached Wang Lin, it was like thunder crashing within his mind. The Qilin soul charged forward, biting into the devil, attempting to halt its pursuit. Ling Tianhou stared at the sea of blood, his eyes bloodshot. His heart bled alongside it. This Qilin had followed him for countless years. It had long become something he could not bear to part with. Yet now he had personally destroyed it, using its blood as sacrifice to accelerate the growth of its soul. With a roar, Ling Tianhou formed seals and pointed forward. The scattered blood surged into the air, gathering toward the battlefield. Within it were faint traces of gold. As it converged, more than half of the black mist was forced to dissipate. Wang Lin, help me. This place is too dangerous. No one can survive here alone. I'll explain everything later. Ling Tianhou had fled here because he sensed someone entering. Among those outside, the only one qualified to arrive first was Wang Lin. Wang Lin had just entered, only to witness Ling Tianhou in such a desperate state, even sacrificing his own Qilin. A chill rose within him. If this was Ling Tianhou's condition, what of the others who had already entered? He needed answers. His gaze turned resolute. Stepping out from the darkness, he wasted no words. His body leapt forward, preparing to cast a spell. Spells are useless against it. It devours them. Ling Tianhou shouted urgently. At the same time, he slapped his storage bag. A small red sword appeared in his hand. Without hesitation, he threw it forward. Explode. The sword shattered instantly, transforming into a destructive force that surged into the devil. The creature let out a sharp, piercing scream. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. This devil was clearly an ancient devil. Yet something about it was strange. It resembled a scattered devil, but not entirely. Within its left eye, there were stars. 8 stars. 7 were dim. Only one shone brightly, radiating overwhelming devilish energy. At that moment, the devil writhed in pain. The stars within its eye rotated, and the single shining star grew even more radiant, exuding an eerie, terrifying aura. With a roar, its body flickered. It broke free from the Qilin's grasp and lunged directly at Ling Tianhou. Wang Lin's pupils contracted. His right hand clenched into a fist, and he struck forward. The shadow of an ancient god emerged, though obscured by the black mist. Yet the instant the punch was unleashed, the ancient devil trembled. It abruptly turned, locking its gaze onto Wang Lin. It abandoned Ling Tianhou entirely. Like a shadow, it charged straight toward Wang Lin. It had recognized the aura of an ancient god. Wang Lin's mind stirred. Behind him, a black and white yin-yang symbol appeared. With a wave of his right hand, as the energies intertwined, his domain-infused treasure manifested. The Karma Whip. Gripping it tightly, Wang Lin flicked his wrist. A sharp, cracking sound echoed as the whip's surface peeled apart, revealing strands of golden light within. As the devil approached, the whip lashed out. It struck. The ancient devil froze. A surge of devilish energy burst from the wound. It let out a pained scream, its eyes bloodshot, preparing to charge again. But the whip came down once more. Snap. The devil trembled violently. Wang Lin did not pause. Blow after blow descended relentless. The ancient devil began to retreat, fear emerging in its movements. Yet after retreating several hundred feet, its body suddenly shrank. In an instant, it transformed into a massive handprint, whistling through the air as it shot toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin, be careful. That handprint can pierce all defenses. Ling Tianhou's voice was filled with alarm. The wound on his chest had been caused by that very attack. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed. This handprint felt familiar. As it closed in, his gaze brightened further. He raised his right hand. A memory surfaced. The handprint he had once seen in the Rain Celestial Realm. I know this handprint as well. Back then, his cultivation had been insufficient. But now he stood at the peak of the Nirvana Scrya stage, possessing the body of an ancient god. That memory surged through his mind, replacing all else. It became eternal. It transformed into a will flowing into his right hand as he struck forward. The moment his palm moved, the heavens and earth seemed to change color. Thunder roared. The black mist was driven back violently, as though swept aside by a tempest. Within this palm lay a boundless will, one that declared dominion over all existence. It expanded into a colossal handprint, covering sky and earth, carrying an indescribable pressure as it advanced. In an instant, it collided with the devil's handprint. A world-shaking explosion erupted. The ground trembled violently. The devilish handprint shattered, reverting into the ancient devil. Horror filled its eyes as it screamed and attempted to flee. But Wang Lin's palm did not dissipate. It surged forward relentlessly. The black mist across the 8th floor was forced back. A vast path was carved open. The ancient devil could not escape. The handprint caught up. With a mournful cry, its body collapsed. Yet at that instant, its left eye flashed. The eye broke free, shooting forward in escape. Still, the handprint pressed onward. Pavilions along its path crumbled one after another. At last, it struck the central palace. A deafening impact resounded. More than half the palace collapsed, revealing 99 candlesticks within. At that moment, one of the 2 remaining lit candles flickered violently and went out. Only a single candle remained its flame, trembling, barely clinging to existence. Ling Tianhou stood frozen, staring at the scene. He inhaled sharply, a chill running through him. His eyes fixed on Wang Lin were filled with disbelief. A storm raged within his heart. "Let's go," Wang Lin spoke in a low, concise tone as he stepped onto the path opened by the handprint. On the surface, he appeared calm, but within his mind was anything but steady. He could clearly sense that what he had just displayed was only a fraction of the handprint's true might. If he were ever able to unleash it in full, then with a single strike, all 9 levels of this celestial emperor cave could be reduced to ruin. Ling Tianhou followed closely behind. The more he observed Wang Lin, the deeper his unease grew. He understood less and less about this man. Though his own cultivation surpassed Wang Lin's, a lingering intuition gnawed at him. If they truly clashed, defeat would be inevitable. Wang Lin moved like a streak of lightning, arriving swiftly at the half-destroyed palace. His gaze turned cold as he glanced at Ling Tianhou. Then he retrieved a large quantity of pills and swallowed them in one motion. With a slap of his storage bag, a flash of silver light burst forth. The silver female corpse appeared beside him, her expression icy as her gaze locked onto Ling Tianhou. Ling Tianhou's pupils contracted. Wang Lin in his eyes had grown even more unfathomable. I cannot see through him at all. His cultivation, his spells, everything about him can only be described with 2 words: profound mystery. In his entire life, Ling Tianhou had only ever used those words for the All-Seer. Now there was another. He chose not to use the green pill Wang Wei had given him. Instead, he devoured a large number of other pills to replenish the terrifying amount of origin energy consumed by that handprint. The energy expended rivaled that of wielding the iron sword. Yet Wang Lin had just emerged from the magma. Aside from the fire origin energy already within him, vast reserves remained unabsorbed. Moreover, during his months of cultivation, the vermilion bird tattoo had absorbed a considerable amount as well. During that time, Wang Lin had discovered something crucial: the fire origin energy stored within the vermilion bird tattoo could be transferred back into his body. It was this realization that had compelled him to remain within the magma for so long. After consuming the pills, Wang Lin refrained from using the energy within the vermilion bird tattoo. Instead, he drew upon the unabsorbed fire origin energy still lingering in his body. Combined with the effects of the pills, his strength recovered slightly. He soon reached the palace adorned with candlesticks. Of the many flames, only one remained flickering weakly as it struggled to persist. The area was empty. Wang Lin's gaze swept across the surroundings before he spoke calmly. What exactly happened here? Ling Tianhou entered behind him, lingering fear still evident in his eyes. When we arrived from the 7th floor, there was no black fog here. But after entering this hall and opening the path to the 9th floor, 3 devil shadows burst out and filled the entire place with black mist. Those shadows were extremely strange. Master Void was severely injured the moment one struck him. Wang Wei was wounded by Beilu's sneak attack. Then the All-Seer made his move, and he assisted Beilu. As for Hu Huan, before she could react, she was pulled straight into the 9th floor. I myself was also injured by one of the shadows. The fog is impenetrable, even divine sense cannot pass through it. Ling Tianhou spoke, simply recounting the events. As Wang Lin listened, his expression gradually darkened into a frown. He was not surprised by the All-Seer aiding Beilu. The All-Seer had ventured into the demon spirit land countless times. Wang Lin refused to believe he had never come into contact with ancient demons. Moreover, long ago, when Wang Lin was still within the Heavenly Fate sect, he had witnessed the senior brother of the Purple Division use a technique strikingly similar to a demonic spell. That memory remained vivid. As time passed and he experienced more, his suspicions only deepened. He also possessed the body of a scattered devil. That body was clearly identical to Ling Tianhou's, only far younger. It still rested within his storage bag. Wang Lin was certain that if he revealed it, Ling Tianhou's expression would change drastically. Even the All-Seer might not remain composed. Ancient devil, ancient demon, the all-seer, and Ling Tianhu. There must be some hidden connection among them. Wang Lin stood silently, his gaze fixed upon the ruins of the palace, especially the lone candle that still burned. How do we activate this place? Wang Lin had to descend to the 9th floor. Whether it was for Zhou Yi or Situ Nan, he could not turn back. Though Situ Nan had not reached this far, Wang Lin firmly believed that with his strength, he would be safe on the earlier floors. But Zhou Yi was on the 9th floor, and the hope of curing Situ Nan's poison also lay there. Both were people he owed deeply. How could he abandon them, even knowing the dangers ahead if he retreated out of fear? Then he would not be Wang Lin. Ling Tianhu hesitated. You truly intend to go down? Wang Lin nodded without hesitation. Ling Tianhu fell silent for a moment. Then a trace of madness flickered within his eyes. Fine. You have cultivated for less time than I, yet you dare to proceed. This old man's treasured beast was destroyed by that damn thing. I have spent my life cultivating the tyrannical domain. I refuse to leave like this. If even the all-seer dares to enter, why should I fear? He stepped forward and approached the candlesticks. Based on his memory of Hu Huan's actions, he quickly began rearranging them. The 99 candlesticks slowly shifted. A deep rumbling echoed as they moved, forming a vast formation. Ghostly lights flickered from each candlestick, growing brighter and brighter. At the center, a circle of light emerged from which dense black fog poured outward. Gritting his teeth, Ling Tianhu charged into the light circle first. Wang Lin did not hesitate. Taking a deep breath, he stored the silver female corpse and stepped into the circle as well. At the very moment they entered the 9th floor, within the palace at its center, identical to the one on the 8th floor, a figure cloaked in dark fog lifted his head. A trace of struggle appeared within his expression. Between his brows, only a single point of light remained, while endless black gas surged forward, attempting to devour it. Thunderous roars echoed from outside the palace, accompanied by furious cries. A fierce battle was raging. Outside, nearly everyone had gathered, but all were injured. They circled the palace as countless devil shadows surged outward, assaulting them relentlessly. No matter how many were destroyed, they did not dissipate. When pushed to the brink, these shadows would collapse, unleashing terrifying destructive force. This forced everyone into a desperate, entangled struggle. Master Void sat nearby, his face pale. He coughed up a mouthful of black blood and tapped several points on his body to suppress his injuries. Beside him, the man in black was equally pale. He sat cross-legged, cultivating, yet his eyes remained fixed ahead. The all-seer waved his wide sleeves. Each motion unleashed powerful attacks, shattering everything before him. Wang Wei's expression was grim. Around him, vast curtains of water surged and crashed forward with overwhelming force. He fought so fiercely for two reasons. One was his master, Qing Lin. The other was Hu Huan, who had been dragged into the 9th floor. His distraction had given Bei Lu the opportunity to strike. With the all-seer's assistance, they had injured him. Yet Wang Wei possessed countless pills. He swallowed them without hesitation, ignoring both Bei Lu and the all-seer as he charged into the 9th floor in search of Hu Huan. Bei Lu stood on the opposite side. Demonic energy engulfed him, forming a blazing aura. Behind him loomed the shadow of an ancient demon, nearly corporeal, radiating overwhelming pressure. Each time he raised his right hand, countless spells surged forth, colliding with the devil shadows. Tajia, I know your devil shadow technique consumes immense demonic energy. Let's see how long you can keep this up. A cold, hoarse voice answered him, sending chills through every heart present. It was ethereal, yet filled with suffocating pressure. Bei Lu, when I complete this possession, you will understand just how much demonic energy I possess. Wang Wei's eyes turned blood red. Both hands moved and a blue light appeared before him. In an instant, it expanded into a vast ocean, filling the sky as if it were real. With a furious roar, the endless sea crashed down upon the palace, shrouded in black fog. The old man atop the gourd also acted. Transforming into countless spells, he plunged into the fog, slaughtering the devil shadows. Zhou Yi was there as well, but he appeared even weaker than before. Anxiety filled his eyes as he stared into the black mist. The demonic energy within him was too strong. As a spirit body, he struggled to resist its qin shi. At that moment, Wang Lin and Ling Tianhu arrived. The 9th floor was not vast. Aside from the palace, there was nothing else. The instant they appeared, the fierce battle unfolded before their eyes. Among all forces, the most striking were the ancient demon shadow behind Bei Lu and the towering waves summoned by Wang Wei. At that moment, the All-Seer's eyes gleamed with a strange light. He raised his hand toward the sky and spoke. Heavenly Fate Finger. As his words echoed, a majestic vortex formed within Wang Wei's ocean. A terrifying pressure descended from above. From within the sea, a colossal finger emerged. With ruthless force, it pressed down upon the palace, engulfed in black fog. The monstrous ocean crashed down without warning, as if it sought to obliterate everything beneath the heavens. At the same time, the All-Seer's finger descended from the sky. Ancient Devil Bei Lu spread his arms wide. The shadow of the ancient devil behind him separated from his body. A flash of light followed, and 24 small illusory flags formed a circle around that shadow. With a single point of the ancient devil's finger, the 24 flags erupted with unimaginable pressure. Illusions surged forth, ancient gods, ancient devils, and even savage beasts from primordial times. They filled the entire sky. At that very moment, countless spells descended outside the palace. Master Void clenched his teeth, ready to strike, but the instant he noticed Wang Lin's presence, he forcibly restrained himself. The man in black remained still as well, yet a trace of greed flickered in his eyes. Inside the palace lay the heavily wounded celestial emperor Qing Lin. Even with the ancient devil present, they held the advantage in numbers. They lacked no powerful cultivators. Even the ancient devil would hesitate. As long as I obtain 3 drops of Qing Lin's blood, my task will be complete. Then the Lord will elevate my cultivation greatly. Even the old man seated upon the gourd had his eyes light up. He halted his attack and stepped back several paces. Greed surfaced in his gaze. He had followed the All-Seer here without much difficulty. He had not come for the secret of the 3rd step. What he desired were Qing Lin's celestial spells. When the spells of the All-Seer Bei Lu and Wang Wei collided, a violent roar erupted. Countless cracks spread across the earth as though the world itself were about to collapse. The moment the All-Seer's finger touched down the ground, shattered completely. The entire Celestial Emperor cave trembled violently. All 9 floors quaked in unison. With the addition of the countless illusions summoned by Bei Lu's flags, what trembled was no longer just the cave, but the entirety of the demon spirit land. The collapse of the ground reduced the 9th floor to utter ruin. As the 3 devastating spells descended, Bei Lu let out a hoarse-frenzied roar. Then the endless black fog surrounding the palace surged forward, rushing toward the 3 supreme figures. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Thunderous explosions echoed endlessly. Wang Lin and Ling Tianhu sped forward, but before they could approach, they felt an overwhelming impact rushing toward them. Yet at the instant when the spells and black fog collided, when the heavens themselves seemed to change color, the final candle within the palace on the 8th floor flickered weakly and went out. The moment the flame died, the light between the brows of the middle-aged man seated on the throne vanished. A vast surge of devilish energy flooded in, occupying everything. In that instant, the man abruptly raised his head. The confusion in his eyes disappeared, replaced by a terrifying devilish flame. 8 stars spun rapidly within his left eye. A dark, chilling smile spread across his lips as he slowly rose to his feet. For countless years, he had remained seated here, unable to move even a fraction. Yet now, he stood. The moment he rose, monstrous, devilish energy burst forth. Cracks spread across the palace. Then, with a deafening crash, the palace shattered into countless fragments. The black fog outside surged inward, pouring into the ruined palace and converging upon the man. A suit of black armor suddenly formed around his body. At that instant, Wang Wei saw the palace collapse. He saw the figure standing within the ruins. Shock and pain filled his eyes. Teacher, madness flickered within the all-seer's gaze. He had waited for this day for far too long. On the other side, Bei Lu inhaled sharply. Killing intent erupted within his eyes. He has only just completed the possession. His state is not yet stable. I cannot allow him to consolidate his power. The moment the man stood, all the restrictions across the first 8 floors flickered wildly as if cheering. Then, one after another, they collapsed. Even more terrifying, the entire demon spirit land underwent a drastic transformation. The demonic energy that once filled it was swept away, restoring it to the celestial spirit heaven realm. Yet in the next instant, boundless devilish energy surged forth, covering the sky. The celestial beasts that had only just recovered were swept by this energy. Wherever it passed, they transformed into bloodthirsty, ferocious creatures. Not only the demon spirit land, but even the endless starry sky surrounding it was filled with devilish energy. It condensed into a massive illusory devil shadow, which let out an arrogant, silent laugh. Though no sound could be heard, that laughter spread across the entire alliance. It carried an unimaginable force. The war within the alliance had raged for half a year. Countless cultivators had perished. Endless slaughter had driven both sides into madness. All heaven cultivators poured in from afar. The alliance mobilized nearly all cultivators from the northern region. The entire region was drenched in the stench of blood. Master Flamespark himself had nearly lost his sanity from killing. Yet just as both sides were immersed in slaughter, that silent laughter swept past. Master Flamespark froze. Even the Alliance elder battling him was struck with shock. They were not alone. All nearby cultivators trembled without understanding why. Within the distant Alliance headquarters, several surviving Celestials remained figures like Wang Wei and Hu Juan. They formed the backbone of the Alliance and were preparing to head to the northern battlefield. Then that silent laughter brushed past them. Their expressions changed drastically. Terror filled their eyes. This sound is Celestial Emperor Qing Lin, deep within the headquarters in a secret chamber atop a planet above the vortex. A middle-aged man suddenly opened his eyes. The moment he did, the bell hanging from the ceiling shattered with a loud crash. Celestial Emperor. At the same time, the old man who had sensed Wang Lin within the brilliant void realm suddenly raised his head. His gaze seemed to pierce through space itself, reaching toward the demon spirit land. Never before had his expression been so grave. Beside him, the cold, brilliant void Saintess Mu Bingmei was also shaken. He has awakened. No, it is not him. The old man's expression shifted. There was melancholy relief and also disappointment. Within a burning star field, an Alliance forbidden zone belonging to the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect, there existed a white rock 100 feet wide, located at the very core. This rock was the origin of the flames. Its shape was irregular. Its color was not red but pure white. Yet the heat it emitted was beyond imagination. Even Wang Lin at his current strength would melt if he approached within 1,000 feet. Even his vermilion bird would perish instantly. Not even a 5-star ancient god could endure within that distance. This seemingly ordinary stone was the source of the eternal flames that consumed the starfield. At this moment, an old man sat atop the stone. His skin hung loosely. A dense aura of death surrounded him. From afar, he resembled not a living person, but a heap of decaying flesh. Yet no one dared underestimate him. He was the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor. His name once shook the stars. For reasons unknown, he had never entered the celestial realm, yet there would have been a place for him there. Now he opened his eyes and gazed into the distance. A trace of melancholy appeared. Could it be that my Vermilion Bird Divine Sect can never rise again? Amid the endless stars, there existed a planet that most ignored, a level 6 cultivation planet known as Suzaku. On Suzaku, within what was once a sea of fog, lay the land of the ancient god. Within its blood, see, a red-haired man slowly lifted his head. A hint of disdain flickered in his eyes. This 8-star ancient devil is nothing but trash. In another 100 years, Sen will leave this place. When that time comes, will anyone capable of stopping me even exist? As his voice echoed, the blood sea churned violently, rising like monstrous waves. The land of the ancient god was a separate void space opened by Tu-Si. His body lay within it. Its size was indescribable. Even a cultivation planet seemed like a toy beside it. His rough skin and massive fist radiated a pressure that could shatter the heavens. Yet as the blood sea raged with Sen's words, Tu-Si's right index finger suddenly twitched ever so slightly.